Hello and welcome to Talk About the Passion with me, Ben Baker, a programme where people talk about their passions. And that's it really. Think of it as a kind of radio version of Friday Night with Jonathan Ross, only where people are actually interested in the things they're talking about and not just pointing at clips of the Antiques Roadshow and saying bum. Today's guest is, however, here to talk about a very special television programme to her. Although whether or not she's actually going to be saying bum at any point is only one person is able to answer. And that person is Alison Bean.
Bum.
Alison, hello.
Bum.
Did you like especially how I messed up that entire line there?
Yeah,
just to make you feel more at ease.
Do you want to do a retake there, Ben?
No, it's fine. Just leaving it.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, I'm just making you feel at ease because
Yeah.
You are an Australian.
Yeah.
And when most people think of Australia, they think of dirt, filth.
Yep.
Alcoholism,
Yeah.
But when you mention Australian comedy, you probably think of, Barry Humphries,
Yeah.
Blinky Bill, and everyone's favourites, H.G. and Roy. So tell me, which of these classic Australian institutions are you going to talk about today?
I'm going to talk about The Late Show.
Now, in ridiculously oversimplified terms, what is The Late Show?
Well, The Late Show was a live sketch comedy program which ran for an hour every Saturday night in 1992 and 1993. Well, and it was a mix of stand-up, pre-recorded sketches, live sketches, segments where they would harass the audience, all sorts of, real variety of comedy.
Yeah, it's basically a variety show with all those things, but with the same cast every week.
That's right. Yeah.
Doing regular things. Okay, we just sort of introduced it a bit there. But what's your actual first experience of The Late Show?
Well, on Saturday nights on ABC television in 1992, the format or the lineup was something like this. You had the news, and then you had the bill.
Always a winner.
Yep. Always a winner, yeah.
The bill.
The bill. Yeah, Australians love the bill for some inexplicable reason.
Is it still on now?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
It's insanely popular.
Do you have any national monuments to Tosh Lines or Burnside?
There was a national day of mourning for Tosh and
So that's the bill covered.
Yeah. Yes, and following the bill was another marvellous British import, which was Birds of a Feather.
Oh, jeez.
What'll I do when you
are far away?
So you've sat through the bill and you've sat through Birds of a Feather. Why the hell?
That's pretty bleak.
Why the hell you would want to, well, A, sit through both those programs, but B, then continue to stay with that same television station? But on this particular night in 1992, I did, and suddenly this thing appeared called The Late Show, which I'd never heard of, and it had zero promotion. And the episode that I tuned into was episode 2, and I kind of feel that I discovered this program, and gradually over the next few months, I learnt that other people at school had also discovered the program, and we all go, "Wow, isn't this the best program?" But no one had talked to each other about it because people weren't sure if anyone else had discovered it.
Last, there's a touch of the old country right here in Australia. Yes, it's the best of British down under at the Whinging Pom Bar and Bistro. There's traditional English food.
All right then, who had the boiled lard?
Genuine British ales. And that anal retentive attitude the Whinging Pom is famous for.
Oh, shit the jugs on that.
Monday is darts night, as is Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, it's a right royal knees up. See Chaz and Dave as you've never seen them before, entertaining people. Plus darts. So if you'd like to hang out with a pack of miserable arseholes, get on down to the Whinging Pom.
Who are you looking at?
Which it's quite odd because from what I understand, the team that put it together were called the D Generation.
Yeah.
That's correct, and they were actually quite known.
They were. I mean, the basic history behind the D-Generation is that I think it was the 1985 Melbourne University Comedy Review. And they'd done quite well. They'd done a national tour of their review show, and then they were picked up by television. And so they did the D-Generation. They did a couple of series at the ABC, then they went to Channel 7, and then they went and did radio. And
now, I've seen, it's just a slight tangent, but I've actually seen some D-Generation episodes, and they were fucking terrible.
Yeah, they're not very good. I'm really pleased that they kept getting lots of chances at that time, because they really didn't deserve them.
No, not based on the Thunderbird sketch. Whereas if you're listening to this now and you're in front of a computer, go onto YouTube, type in D-Generation Thunderbirds.
Well, the interesting thing, Ben, is that the Thunderbird sketch was very highly acclaimed, and people really loved that sketch.
Yeah, by Australians. I mean, come on. It says slightly letter. Welcome to Ben Baker Insults Your Passion.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Baker.
Yeah, you sat through the bill. We made you.
You see, if you can sit through the bill, Baker, you can sit through anything.
So, with The Late Show, I mean, there was quite a lot of members. Who's your favourite member on The Late Show?
Well, no prizes for guessing. It's Tony Martin, of course. And Tony Martin is a sort of skinny, bespectacled New Zealander who's a self-confessed nerd, and he's completely nerdy and anal about film and television and music and all sorts of things like that. But he's also one of the funniest men in the world, I think. And undoubtedly, yeah. Now,
4 of the Late Show members are actually known to British audiences, although not necessarily by name or anything.
No.
For 2 films they made, The Castle and The Dish, as Working Dog Productions.
That's right,
And then there's the straggler members.
Well, I don't know about straggler members, because some of these people that I'm about to talk about are some of my favourites. I guess probably it's I should talk about Mick Malloy and Jason Stevens, who were in I think it was the 1986 Melbourne University Comedy Review. So they joined in with the D-Generation lot. And then I guess by the time The Late Show came around, it sort of transpired that Mick was working more with Tony Martin. And then there's one final member of The Late Show who only appeared in Series 2, and that's Judith Lucy, who was a stand-up comedian who'd been working around the traps, and she was admired by many members of the team. And they felt after Series 1 that it was very difficult for 7 people to sort of, write, perform, direct and edit and sometimes shoot an hour of comedy each week. So they felt they should bring in another person. And they thought it'd be great if it was a woman, so they brought Judith Lucy on.
Yeah, but I mean, as you've sort of touched upon there, these people were writing an hour of new comedy.
Yes.
Every week, mostly topically based.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite an incredible feat.
Yeah.
In itself. Well, look at Mock the Week.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
A fine example.
Yes.
All right, you got that dial locked on 23 FM, your one-stop, non-stop shop of classic rock, where the hot hits and golden memories are cocked and ready to meet head-on with the best blend of old and new good time, chart-busting rock and roll. And hey, if you're out on the roads, remember, keep left. Good one.
I've been king of pop and a countdown host, and I've sung almost everywhere. I was once kicked out of LA before having too much hair. I'm just a natural guy who likes to close his eyes and hold every note I sing. But if someone tries to call me Johnny, I'll pick their bloody teeth in.
Oh yeah, don't it sound so good? Nice one, Johnny.
So did you always watch it on your own?
Or
was it a group thing?
Well, the first week I watched it, I was with my mum, and she seemed to be enjoying it, but she didn't really want to watch it again. I never quite understood this about my parents. She would sit with and watch Ben Elton with me, on The Man from Auntie or other shows that were on in that.
By God, you got some crap on.
Oh, The Man from Auntie.
The Man from Auntie is all right. It's just it does bemuse me, the sort of things that do end up getting imported. You think, oh, did you get that? Sort of thing. Whereas we, I think, have got Prisoner, the soaps, and then in the mid-90s, occasionally a few sketch shows cut to ribbons at about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, edited by Barry Cryer.
Yay!
Yay!
Looking confused.
Well, you also got a programme which I think was made by ITV, and it was called Bob Down Under. Do you get it? Do you understand? And
Bob Down.
But Bob Down would play clips from Australian television, and some of the clips he actually played, according to legend, were from The Late Show, so I don't know what they were.
Oh.
If anyone out there's got a copy of Bob Down Under, I'd love to see which sketches he selected.
There you go. We've put the call out now.
Yeah.
Anyone listening?
Yeah.
Bob Down.
Bob Down
I never thought I'd be on the radio appealing for Bob Down clips.
We have no lives.
If you don't know who Bob Down is, don't look it up. Just try and imagine. See, it's kind of like now, it would be sort of you go straight on the internet and start talking about it. But back then, I suppose, you know, it was just one of the things you had to sort of keep inside until Monday when you went back to school or whatever.
I mean,
sort of,
you know...
Then you do the catchphrases a bit.
That's right. It would finish at 11 o'clock, and then I'd go to bed. And then I'd have to wait, you know, as you say, 36 hours until I got to school before I could talk about it. And even then, that was only sort of towards the end of the first series, and then all through the second. You know, we would, Monday morning, did you see The Late Show? You know, all this sketch and that sketch, and... You know, and people would talk about how hot they thought Mick Malloy was and so forth. You know,
excellent.
Yeah.
Was it a big hit?
It was being discovered by people, and I mean, as I said, my experience of it was that, you know, people weren't really talking about it that much because they weren't sure if other people had discovered it. And then when suddenly it was discovered that everyone knew about this program, it became absolutely huge. And I can't tell you the anticipation for Series 2. You know, it was just so mega. And, you know, by that stage, the media had suddenly caught onto it. And, it was appearing in magazines for, you know, kind of kids of my age. And you know, older people were talking about it. People were actually staying home at night on Saturday nights to watch it. You know, sort of people who could go to pubs as opposed to school kids like myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so Series 2 then was when it became sort of a phenomenon.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Right. See, it seems quite fun that there's this entire comedy world out there. As a UK person, I've had great fun, because I should point out at this stage that I have seen every episode of The Late Show, courtesy of Alison, and numerous, you know, side projects and radio things. And it's just nice to know there's actually, like, other things out there.
Hi, I'm Barry Shout. I'm Jeff Shout. And here at Shout Motors, we specialise in making annoyingly loud ads about used cars. Chimera's lasers come at us. We can scream about them all. Our big food air splitting deal. GTS Monaro, red, with a big thing on the bonnet. Only $14,999. What was that price again? Don't you white folk listen. Only $14,999. You have to be deaf to miss a deal like that. We are. Sorry. But you know the best thing about Shout Motors? Just when you think our ads are finished, they start again! I'm Barry Shout! And I'm Jeff Shout! And I'm their mum! Hi, Mum! So come on down to Shout Motors for this country's loudest range of new and used cars!
Shout Motors, LMCT 1743!
What was that? Sorry!
So, did you meet any of them?
Well, I did actually. Over the years after The Late Show, I have met a couple of them or encountered them in various forms. The first...
What, pog form?
Well, this will become evident, Ben. Tony, Judith and Mick came to the Adelaide Fringe. I should explain I am from Adelaide. And they came and they did a stand-up show together. I mean, and I was gutted because I went to the wrong door because I desperately wanted to get their autographs and I missed them completely. Oh well.
Oh, poor ickle Alison.
It was terrible.
How old was you? How old were you at the time?
I just turned 16.
Oh, that's even worse. I bet. You know,
but you know,
handle it.
It's okay though because I got a friend of mine to nick one of the posters for their show and I still have it. And one day I'll get it signed by all of them. So I live in hope.
So you have met some of them, though, you say?
Well, Yeah, sort of, yeah.
I mean, no. If it's no, you can say no. I don't mind.
Okay, well, technically no, but I should explain that the only other member of the Late Show that I've ever encountered, other than seeing in live situations, because I have subsequently seen Tony Martin do a stand-up show, and I've seen Mick Malloy live, and also Judith Lucy live a number of occasions, but I seem to keep encountering Tom Gleisner all the time. I don't say it. Well, 3 times I've encountered Tom Gleisner.
That's a Spike Jonze film in itself.
Yeah, but it's whenever there's an opportunity to be near any of that lot, it's always Tom Gleisner. It's never any of the others, which is fine because I quite like Tom Gleisner. But anyway, I'll go through them all in chronological order. The first one was when I was doing community radio as a student in 1997. Tom Gleisner had put a book out, and I got to interview him, which was fantastic, and got to ask him lots of questions. And
were you as good as me as an interviewer? Sorry.
Oh, well, as a student, I couldn't really string 2 words together.
So yes, you're much better than
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a great interview. I just remember I was doing it with this guy, and we didn't really have any idea of professionalism, and we had one microphone, and we were in this little tiny studio where you do phone interviews because it wasn't a face-to-face, of course. Tom Gleisner wouldn't come to Adelaide, don't be ridiculous. And so we were just endlessly passing the mic between ourselves. We didn't think, I'll ask all my questions, then he'll do all his questions. Oh no, we were going to swap. And so we had this banging of microphone sounds all the time, saying, oh, terribly sorry, Tom, just hang on a second. So it was the most unprofessional thing you've ever imagined. In 2000, for my sins, I was involved in an event about in Melbourne about the Goodies, and basically we got Tim Brooke-Taylor out to Melbourne for this event for Goodies fans, right? Which was a big achievement, actually, to get him out there.
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah, so I was kind of drumming up some media interest, and of course the media were quite interested. And the Working Dog team, that's Tom, Rob, Jane and Santo, were at that time doing a program called The Panel. And the panel is basically 5 people sit around a desk and talk about topical events for an hour, and they have different guests who join them at different points of the show and so forth. Right. And the panel were very interested in having Tim on the show. And they said, Tom Gleisner's a really big fan of the Goodies, right? Yeah. So I put this to Tim, and he said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And they paid him a small fee, and Tim Brooke-Taylor and I went along to Channel 10, and he went on the panel, which was really quite amazing. But, of course, the only member of the Late Show cast who was there was Tom Gleisner. And then, in 2004, I think this was, when Mulvaney was released in Britain, they had an event, a sort of a book launch. And, because my husband at that time worked for Foyle's bookshop, and Foyle's had it as their book of the month, which was kind of due to me prodding and saying, you've got to have this as book of the month, Mike. He got invited.
Viral. Yeah. You're viral.
I was viraling it. I was saying, you got to have this. It's really good. Because it wasn't, because I'd picked up this book earlier that year when I'd been to Australia. And so Mike got invited along to the launch of the book. And which member of the group was there? Of course, it was Tom Gleisner, wasn't it? And can I also point out that both at the panel and at the Mulvania book launch, I didn't actually go and talk to him because I was too scared.
Oh, you want to go?
I'm so crap at this.
This is the patronising bit.
You know what was even worse about this, though? Because no one in Britain has ever heard of them, really. Yeah. There are about 15 people at the Mulvania book launch, right? Oh. And 10 of them were employees of Foyle's. and then there was me who'd snuck in, and there were some people from the book company. So, it would have been quite easy for me to go up to Tom Gleisner.
Unlimited access to someone from one of your favourite programmes in the entire world. So much so that you want to talk about it on the radio, and you didn't go.
I cut him. I'm rude. What can I say? I'd do it. I'd do it now. Oh, hang on. I've just remembered another thing.
At least you can say you blanked him.
Yeah,
I blanked a member.
I'm so far above him. I blanked him. Actually, I just remembered another thing. I interviewed Judith Lucy once. What happened was she came to Adelaide in 2000 to do the launch of the Adelaide Fringe for that year. And this basically involved her cutting a ribbon or something. No, what happened is this. Yeah. So we're all kind of standing there on this stage, sort of this outdoor stage, right? And suddenly there's all these car beeping noises and this car pulls up. And Judith Lucy's in the car, right? Yeah. And then Mr. Gay South Australia emerges, right? He's wearing like hot pants and a tight top or something.
Well, I'd be upset if he wasn't.
Yeah, he did look the very epitome of what you'd imagine Mr. Gay South Australia to look like. And Mr. Gay South Australia picked up Judith Lucy out of the car and he carried her onto this little stage where Leno and Woodley were standing.
Or maybe it's... Who is it? It's just an normal Adelaide driver. Oh my God! Who could it be? It's Judith Lucy! Woo! And the most handsome man in the world!
And Judith Lucy sort of emerges on stage and kind of brushes herself down, getting all the sequins off herself or whatever that had come off Mr. Gay South Australia's hot pants. And then she did she launched the Fringe and did some stand up, and then afterwards I got a friend of mine to go up and ask if I could talk to her, because obviously I couldn't do this myself, like any normal member of the media could. And of course I didn't have any questions prepared, so I came up with 4 off the top of my head questions. And then, so when I went back to the station to edit this up, I only had 4 questions, so all of them went to air with just minor cosmetic editing. And
they were all for Tom Gleisner. just ask questions. So, Tom.
Yeah. Anyway, here we go. It's confession time, right? Okay. As I explained previously, I was involved in this Goodies event, and it's basically... that Goodies event came about because of a Goodies website which I was involved in running. And we, this is kind of the mid-90s, so well before Facebook and all these things, but we had a section on the website which was, you could put up profiles of yourself. Right. And I put up all my stuff. I put that I was into The Late Show and as a fun fact, I put that I impersonated Judith Lucy. Anyway, which I do. I might do it for you later if you ask nicely.
I would, honestly, I would cry if you don't.
Anyway, so there's this profile of me where I say that I do this impression of Judith Lucy. And then Judith Lucy appears on a radio station called Triple J, which is like Radio 1 in early 1996. And the presenter, a guy called Laurie Zion, he decided that he would use this newfangled internet to sort of do a net search on Judith Lucy and see what he came up with. And apparently link number 6 or something was this link to my profile on this Goodies website where I explained that I did impersonations of her.
Busted.
Anyway, so he starts telling her about this. And anyway, I wasn't listening to this, but a friend of mine suddenly rings me up and she says, "They're talking about you on the radio. They're talking about Judith Lucy. They're talking about you." And I'm going, "Oh my God." So I quickly tune in and I kind of catch the end of this interview. And then I decide to ring up the station and kind of show myself. And I eventually get on to the radio station and the guy says, "So, can you do your impression for me?" And I said, "Okay." So I did it. And there was a kind of a stunned silence after I'd done the impression because it probably isn't that good, actually.
I'll just keep going, oh.
Judith Lucy was in as guest film reviewer. Earlier tonight, I actually found through the internet some reference to her from a page that you maintain where you actually claim to be a Judith Lucy impersonator. Now, have I got my facts right?
That's right. I try to be a Judith Lucy impersonator.
Is that a hard thing to do?
I don't know. I think it's something that you've got to... I don't know. It's something that not everyone can do.
Now, Jude was quite startled by this revelation.
Right.
And obviously is pretty keen to get in touch with you. She's actually slipped out just now.
Right.
So may or may not be listening. But anyway, for the rest of us here, do you think you could give us a sample of your wares?
Okay. Laurie, I'd like to pop you on a bit of toast and eat you right up.
Oh, you fooled me.
Anyway, a couple of days later, Judith Lucy goes on to Martin Malloy. this being the second year of Martin Molloy, being 1996. And they said to her, "Oh, so Jude, what's been happening to you this week?" And she said, "Well, I've discovered that there's this person out there who impersonates me." And she basically bagged me for about 3 minutes.
I did a bit of an interview the other day and they just popped my name on the net to see what came up. And I'm very happy to report that my name came up in the members of the Goodies fan club section.
Really?
Yep, because they have to describe themselves and one of them apparently does impersonations of me. But I'd actually like to stick with the Goodies fan club bit for a moment because for my money, having a Goodies fan club's a bit like having a fan club for Mind Your Language or Love Thy Neighbour Down Under.
Oh dear, there's going to be a fatwa out on you, Judith Lucy, from those Goodies fan clubs.
There certainly is, but they have to actually list their favourite episodes and their favourite Goodies quote. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to share her favourite quote with you. Strap yourselves in, because you might just split your sides. A Boy Scout does not indulge in woggle jokes, such as, "Have you seen his woggle?" No, but it's a good trick if he can do it. That's it.
Yeah, it's all in the delivery, I think, yeah.
Have you got a million of them, Jude?
I personally laughed like a drain when I read that one. Only a man in a dress or maybe blackface could make me laugh harder.
I was really unsure about how to take this because I was kind of excited but also deeply offended at the same time. I figure that after 11 years I can relate this deeply embarrassing series of events to you.
It's all right. It'll all be cut out. Don't worry. No one will ever hear this. So, if you could take away 5 memories from the Late Show, what would they be? The very best memories for you?
Oh, God. I guess one of them would be the Whinging Pom sketch, which is a sketch written by Tony Martin. Another thing that I really liked was the Billy Bragg parody. Yeah. And the whole idea behind that was, what's Billy Bragg doing now that Margaret Thatcher's not in power?
I think you can tell by the way that I'm singing, I'm not really very happy. I think you can tell by the way that I suddenly seem to get really quite angry. And then I get quiet again so I can sing a couple of sensitive tearjerkers. And then when I get even quieter still, I suddenly sing, "Unite the Workers!" Because I'm caught up inside by the terrible fact that you got up and left, said you weren't coming back. Without you I just don't seem to have any future. So won't you please, please, please come back, Margaret Thatcher.
I guess the shit scared sketches are, always fondly remembered by many people, and I guess discovering Judith Lucy as well. Oh God, I've got to think of one more now. I think the way in which they used music. At the end of the show in Series 2, they would get a famous musician to come on and perform one of their big hits, except that they always booked the wrong person. They booked someone with a slightly similar name. So instead of the band R.E.M., they got an Australian actor called Norman Yem due to a mishearing. And Norman Yem would come out and attempt to perform Losing My Religion. And you see, I've come to 5, and now I don't have any room for Barjas in the olden days, which, again, you could probably do a 3-hour podcast just examining those.
We'll save that for volume 6. So that's basically it, Alison. Thank you very much for being my guest tonight. So before we go, I should thank all the people at champagnecomedy.com,
yes,
which is a fantastic fan site forum. And there's also an excellent episode guide at, I believe, tandara.com.
That's right.
Tadara. So if you want to learn more about The Late Show, try that, or simply type it into YouTube. There's lots up there. So you see, I hope we've let you at home have this little window into a world you never heard about before by a woman who never got to meet Tom Gleisner.
It's my own bloody fault.
Good night.
Good night. Can I just say that I'm really disappointed with Bill Oddie for doing B&Q ads? I really think he's sold out. Please cut that bit out, Daryl.
Yes.